Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. I'm back with a daily race C to really show you the difference between the two strategies for this week's Group 2 at Deep Forest. Now if you do enjoy this video, it is a massive help to me if you take a few seconds to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It all helps the algorithm and it helps us push our way to 75,000 subscribers. That is what we're aiming for by the end of the year. Let's see if we can smash it and get to that 75k. But for this week's daily race C, yes, we're in Group 2 and it is a CLK fest. Basically everyone is in the CLK because this car is a little bit quick on the straight line and this track really does benefit straight line speed. So I'm starting from P1. We're on our main account here and we've got some very quick drivers at the back of the grid. We've actually got World Tour drivers from the Gran Turismo World Series. So we've got a few of them at the back and I'm going from the front and we're going to try and get a win. Now I felt pretty confident from this position that it would be pretty okay. We've got a Nissan GTR behind us, so you're going to really see the benefits of the CLK over the GTR on the straights. But I will say that that GTR didn't look absolutely terrible. It would be interesting having a race in the GTR. I might do it at one point this week. Jump on, off stream, in the GTR and see if we can take on the CLK. Because I think it might be possible. It might be possible if the lobby is not too busy and it's not too stacked to take a win with that GTR. Because I can see in the corners here, when we look in our mirror, you can see it in the mirror, it's definitely quicker through the corners. He's losing because he's obviously getting into our turbulent air. Now, turbulent air in Group 2, unfortunately, is a little bit of a thing. So even in this track with not high-speed corners, it's not as noticeable as it would be, for example, at Fuji or Spa in the middle sector. But you can feel it. It's there. Now, it's a shame that PD did not run the custom slipstream that we had at Super Formula Race in Interlagos, because this race could have been one of the best if it would have had that custom slipstream. And if only they'd done that with only 2016 cars available, we could have had a real mixed grid with different cars being used. It would have been brilliant. But unfortunately, a couple of settings missing again by PD that just let the race down a little bit, and it creates a one-make race with this CLK. But you can see, look at the acceleration difference out of that final corner. There is no way in this world that GTR can overtake the CLK. It's impossible. It cannot do it because it's dropping back by like 3-4 tenths on the straight alone. Now we look in the mirror behind us and that CLK goes for a move. The GTR goes back underneath him and doesn't give the most space on the exit, but just enough. Good racing there. I think it was acceptable. A little bit of contact maybe, but he does get that position back, and that's all helping me out get a little bit further away here. So at this stage, this was our first race of the day. So we're not particularly warmed up. We've jumped on, first race on the live stream, and we raced. Now unfortunately, I did not have the replay footage because I didn't have enough memory. I have sorted that issue now from the 100 replays that I had on my other account. So we've deleted a lot of them and we've got space for any future races. So yeah, obviously no replay footage. It's a shame, but this race was really interesting and I wanted to make sure I get it uploaded because it's going to highlight to you lot the difference between the strategies. There is two strategies here. One, you change tyres. Now you can change tyres from anywhere from lap 5, 6 or 7, or even go to lap 8 and do it. Or you can do the opposite strategy of not changing your tyres. Now what people are doing if they're doing that strategy, obviously depending on where you start on the grid, is pitting lap 1, getting some nice clean air, not changing tyres, and then getting back on with it. Now the only downside to that strategy is you only lose about 9 seconds in the pits. So if you do that from the front of the grid, you're probably going to get into the back markers, and that's not going to be good for your race. So that strategy is probably only a viable strategy if you are starting towards the back of the grid. So if you're starting at the front, I would not try that out. As you can see now, we're skipping to lap 5. Now the pace here was not particularly great. We're about 3-4 tenths off what we've been doing after a few races of getting warmed up, but we're holding the lead, and that's the main thing. At this stage, we're thinking this is a comfortable race. We've got this pretty much in the bag. Just keep it on the track and do not make any mistakes. It's a full A+ lobby, so everyone in this race is A+, so it's not a dead lobby. It's actually a pretty competitive daily race. It was probably one of the most competitive races we had throughout the day, which is strange because it actually faded off a little bit. I think people got maybe a little bit bored with everyone in the CLK, and yeah, it was competitive in the night time, but for the morning race, this was probably the most competitive in terms of A+ all the way through the field. So coming to the midway point on lap 6 you can see the gap to the GTR behind is still around 1 second. He's actually doing an alright job. However, if you factor in that we're doing about 4 tenths slower a lap than what we probably should be doing, yeah, we're still pulling away, even though we're not really up to pace at this phase of the race. So this is an option now. You can pit lap 6 if you want in this race and change your tyres. That's probably kind of optimal for the strategy if you can get clean run, because your tyres will last better on the second stint. As you can see, the Nissan GTR going into the pits behind me, and he's obviously going for that slightly earlier pit stop to get a nice fresh lap on them soft tyres. Now I'm going to stay out because at the moment I'm gradually getting faster. Even though our tyre wear is getting worse, I'm actually gradually going faster because I'm starting to get more and more used to the fuel on the car and more confident with the track on the car and starting to push a little bit more. So you can see at the end of lap 7 I actually decided to go for one more lap because I just wanted to see what this tyre wear was like. And as we go over the line, we're actually going to go over for a 19 here. So we were gradually getting quicker and quicker. And I think if you can learn to look after the tyres and keep them, you know, from overheating and keep smooth driving, you can probably keep them 19s all the way up to like lap 11. Now they are going to start fading off after then though. And one thing to remember with this race, which hasn't been relevant that much recently, is track temperatures are back. So pay attention at the start of the race. You'll see it in the lobby, it will have track temperatures. Now the lower the temperature, the better your tyres are going to wear. So remember that if you're thinking of going for the no tyres change strategy, because it will become very relevant in your race. So have a look here now, we're on our way out the pits, and this has totally took me by surprise. We come out the pits and we can see that we got 3 cars that have jumped us. Now there was no one behind me, and I instantly knew what had happened here, because if you don't change tyres, you actually gain 5 seconds. Now on a rolling start, by the end of lap 1, they're probably only 6 or 7 seconds behind us. So they've actually just jumped us through not changing tyres. So very clever play by them. However, I have got fresh tyres. I did go to lap 8, so I've got incredibly good tyres on my car. They've got worn tyres. So this is going to be very, very difficult, because we do know that through this middle sector, the turbulent air is very difficult to follow. So you can see out of this corner how the car just understeers and doesn't want to rotate, especially with that slightly colder tyres. And we're not getting too close. And we can also see the GTR behind me has actually gained a good half a second on us. So he's managed to get himself amongst this battle also. But yeah, this race is really heating up into quite an interesting one. For our first race on, it's looking rather exciting, because we have got to get ahead of them 3 cars somehow. And at the moment, they're all in the slipstream. So you can see on this straight at the moment, they're just pulling away from me because they're in the slipstream. However, as soon as we get into the braking zone, I know that these tyres are going to give me so much more grip than what they've got. And we're going to be able to get right up behind. So into the braking zone. And you can see I've got my brake bias 5 to the rear. I recommend doing that because you need your front right tyre. Your front right tyre is a tyre that is going to wear the most for the race. So in the race, run your brake bias 5 to the rear. Try and look after that front tyre. Also, it's going to help rotate the car. You can see I'm using first gear for that rotation through here. Again, a little bit of first gear just to try and rotate it behind Danny, and then just be careful on the throttle. So we've got 2 drivers in front of us that are well tour drivers, but they haven't got fresh tyres on. And this is now going to emphasise the advantages of changing your tyre. So we've seen now that they've gained that position by the advantages of not changing the tyre. So let's see if we can show you the advantages of changing your tyres and the extra grip that you're going to get with it. So again, into the braking zone, can we brake a lot later? And we should be able to brake a lot later than Danny. You can see massively later. We're right up behind him. And again, on throttle, we should get quite good traction though. Can we get close enough? Are we going to be able to go for a move on this straight? You can see Danny has got the slipstream to Oliver ahead of him. And now I'm picking up that slipstream to Danny. And I know that we've got the better brakes because we've got that really good tyre wear on our car. So can we go for a move here? Danny's going to go defensive to the left, obviously, because he's going to cover that one. I can't really go for a fake because Olive is on the outside. So we're going to stick to the outside. Can we go all the way around the outside? Now we're kind of sandwiched in here. So that was a bit unfortunate. I had to back out of that one. A little bit of contact between Danny and Olive there as they go side by side, and Danny has managed to get himself ahead of Olive. So sandwiched in there, we couldn't do anything. We were stuck on the outside and had to just back out and play it a little bit safe. It's a patient game, this one. I know that I've got the grip, and I know that I should be able to get the pace to be able to attack Consta by the end of the race. We've just got to be very patient with these moves and try and make it happen somehow. So into this technical section, not really much we can do for here because it's mid-speed. You're going to lose a bit of aero. We're just waiting for this straight, get a good exit off this straight, which we managed to do there. I managed to get that pile down, and now I'm right in that slipstream to Olive. So can we go for a move into the heavy braking zone? Again, we can see that we saw the difference on the previous lap with Danny. So we're going to have a little look underneath him, and we actually accidentally give him a little bump draft there, which I didn't mean to do. However, into the braking zone, we brake late. He brakes too late for his tyres. The tyres cannot cope with that late braking there, and now we're up the inside and into that podium position. So this is going to now be a battle to see if we can catch up to Consta. Consta's 1.5 seconds ahead. He's actually managed to gain on us during them early laps here where we're trying to overtake people. Now I'm going to have to go defensive again, so this is going to lose me even more time. So you can see that lap at 20.9, probably over a second off what we should be doing at this stage of the race. So that's 1 second gone already, and we'd already lost on the out lap, and we lost a bit on the previous lap. So at this stage we've probably lost over 2.5 seconds of pace just because we're stuck in this traffic. And it really does, it is going to be sometimes luck of the day whether you get away with the tyre change or not, because if a group of cars, if 4 or 5 cars go for a no tyre change and they get ahead of you, you are going to find this race incredibly difficult to get back past them, and it's going to actually make it quite enjoyable. It is one element of the race that I actually quite like, and it's made it quite interesting. However, I would have loved it to have been 2016 cars only, so the 3 cars selectable, they're all pretty alright on BOP, and then we could have made it custom slipstream so you could follow. That would have been brilliant, but yeah, unfortunately, it's a CLK fest, and this car's quite hard to overtake because it's got such good speed on the straight. By the time we get near a car, like you can see now, even though Danny's got fresher, older tyres and I've got fresher tyres, by the time we start getting into that slipstream now, it's going to be very close to the braking zone before we're near him. And you can see here now, we've got that slipstream, we've got it. Can we go for a little up the inside? We can't go for a look up the inside. However, we're going to try and go right round the outside with this extra grip of tyres, and this really does emphasise now the benefits of them fresh tyres. Look at that, clean round the outside of Danny and up into P2. Now we've only got just over a lap and a half left, and we've got a 1 second gap to Corsair. So now again, all I know I've got to do here is just play it quite smart. We know the pace is in the car, we know his car is struggling on grip. Corsair is a World Tour driver, a very, very quick driver. However, fresh tyres versus 13 lap old tyres, we should be able to get this done. We've just got to play it smart, try and get good exits off these corners, get on the throttle as early as we can, pick up that slipstream. You can see there, Corsair's car really struggling with the grip, and this is going to be very, very interesting. Into the braking zone, you're going to get, again, that's where we're going to gain, on the brakes and on the throttle. So into this heavy braking zone, we're on a decent lap this time, and we're going to brake just after that 150 board before the 100 board, and then down to first gear. And you can see instantly gaining on that braking. Now, good traction out the final corner, much better traction off them tyres. You can really see the advantage of the fresh tyres there. Corsair's going to go to the left. I'm going to go to the full width for the right to try and widen the line in to get a better slipstream on this straight now. And you can see now we're picking up that slip. We're going to go to the right hand side, and now we're going into turn 1 all the way over to the right hand side to widen the line in, and we should be able to make this move work all the way around the outside. You can just see the extra grip we've got, and we finally managed to get ourselves back into P1. That was an interesting battle, and it did have me quite stressed out at one stage during that, because I really thought we weren't going to be able to do it when we were stuck behind 3 cars or with old tyres. But them fresh tyres paid off and got us through to P1. So it really does highlight, again, you know, it's an interesting week in terms of strategy. For me, I have to change tyres until I get my GTDD Pro back, which hopefully will be very soon because it's at Fanatec getting repaired. But I'm on the CSL at the moment, and for some reason the CSL gives almost controller-like tyre wear. It's pretty aggressive on the tyres, so I'm looking forward to getting my GTDD Pro back and getting back used to it when we get that back, and hopefully get some better tyre wear out of it. But yeah, it's worked out in this race, that tyre change, and it's been an enjoyable race, really fun. Hopefully you lot enjoyed it. If you enjoyed that little battle there, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think of this week's race. What about my idea for if it would have been 16 cars with custom slipstream? I think it would have made it a bit more interesting, because it is going to be a bit of a single make race this, unfortunately, this week. But hopefully I'm going to try and take on this Mercedes with a different car and try and get a win from it at some stage. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be very interesting if we can manage it. But yeah, not bad. Enjoyable stuff still, even though it's in Group 2 in the CLK. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Take care, everyone. I'll be back with more of these videos in the future and more live streams. Have a great one, everyone.